will be something like this. It will be like this, to look like this. So once you have that in your computer, the next thing that you're going to do, so step number 2, you're going to download the Flutter SDK. So Flutter SDK is the code of Flutter. As I explained in the previous video, that Flutter is an interface between you and between you and the operating system. So you have to download and install, you have to download Flutter, and then you connect it here. So we'll be writing, and Flutter will be helping us to translate our code from Dart to Java or to Kotlin that can communicate directly to to the operating system. So next step, you're going to download Flutter itself. So to download Flutter, you'll come here again on Google search, and then when you reach on Google search, go ahead and write download Flutter like this. All right, so go ahead and say install Flutter. You'll see here the first button here, install Flutter. So they will take you to the page or to the website of Flutter, and these are the steps of downloading Flutter. I mean, these are the options of downloading Flutter. So you have Flutter for Windows, you have Flutter for Mac operating system, you have Flutter for Linux, you have Flutter for Chrome operating system. So go ahead and download Flutter for for Windows, if you have Windows operating system. If you're having Mac, go ahead and download Flutter for Mac. And these are the steps of downloading Mac. Just go ahead and download Flutter. If you're using M1 chip or M2 chip, you'll go ahead and download this one. If your CPU is M1 or M2, you go ahead and download this one, which has silicon. If you're using an Intel, something that is later than M1, and that's something that's later than M1 chip, you go ahead and download this one. So those are using Mac, understand what I'm saying. So you can go ahead and download that one. Then you'll have to run these commands, these 2 commands, and then you have to export the path of of Flutter into your project. I mean, into your terminal, so Flutter can be inside your environment. Then after, you can run Flutter Doctor. Flutter Doctor, it is the one that will make sure, or that will confirm with you, that yes, Android has been installed in your Flutter has been installed successfully in your environment. So if you face some challenges, there is a lot of optional videos. Even me, I've already created the optional videos that takes you through that. Search on YouTube, try like 10 videos or 5 videos. Before you finish those videos, while you're trying, you'll have figured out how to set up Flutter properly in your operating system. Likewise to an Intel operating system. So if you're using Windows, so just simply go ahead and say click on the Windows icon, and then download this zip. After downloading that zip, unzip it, and then put it in a specific folder. After putting it in a specific folder, follow this step. Go ahead and open your environment, and then copy the link of that folder and put it in your environment. To open your environment, you just simply click on start, and then search environment, and then select edit environment variables, and then you'll be able to see a place where you can add the path. So just read these few steps, these ones, and then you'll be able to add the path for Flutter into your environment. If you also fail, there is a lot of videos of Flutter in YouTube, on YouTube. Go ahead and do it and check them out. You will find a very clear video, better than this one, that can explain to you how to download Flutter in case you find some challenges. So that is how you download and install Flutter. Just this one, you download and unzip it, and then put somewhere. Likewise to Mac. So me, I've already downloaded it, and I already have it on my laptop, so I'll not need to repeat it again. So once your Flutter is okay, you have to open your terminal, and then run this command. Okay, run a command called the Flutter Doctor, like this. So Flutter Doctor, it will check if everything that is in your laptop is well set for the Flutter environment. So that is a step. So you should get a green check boxes or green ticks like the one you're seeing here, and then you should have no issues. So if you have some issues, they'll explain a few things of how you can rectify them, or how you can fix them. and there is a load always solutions on what on internet. So whether using Windows or Mac, you should run Flutter Doctor, and then you should be able to have this. So after running Flutter Doctor, now you have installed Android Studio, you have installed Flutter. The next thing, you're going to install the plugin of Flutter. So if you're going to use Visual Studio Code, you have to install the plugin of Flutter. If you're going to use Android Studio, you have to install the plugin of Flutter. So the plugin of Flutter is an extension. You can call it extension, you can call it a plugin that will add more features to your IDE or to your editor for it to be able to handle Flutter or to be able to work with Flutter. So if you're using Visual Studio Code, it will add that feature of being able to use Flutter. And if you're using Android Studio, it will add those features of being able to use Flutter. So to install to install the Flutter plugin or to install Flutter extension, if you're going to use Visual Studio Code, you'll see the extension, and then you'll be able to search Flutter from that section. If you're going to use Android Studio, just simply come here to where there is plugin after you've opened your Android Studio, and then go ahead and search here Flutter. All right. Okay, so go ahead and search here Flutter. You'll see the plugin called Flutter. It is there and straightforward. Go ahead and download it. All right, just click and then download and install. Then it will ask you to also allow it to download that plugin. Accept it also, so it can download the DAT plugin. So once you have downloaded the DAT plugin and the Flutter, it will ask you to do what? To restart your IDE. So you have to restart your IDE. So once you finish restarting your IDE, you'll be able to do what? You'll be able to, okay, you'll be able to start creating a new Flutter projects. Okay, once you have restarted your IDE. So those are the steps of setting up the Flutter environment. Okay, those are the steps of setting up the Flutter environment. So that's how you install an extension, and then you'll get the button like this one. It says restart IDE. Go ahead and restart. All right. So after you've restarted, it will open, and then you'll be good to go. So once you've set your environment of Flutter, the next thing is now to create the project of Flutter. So to create the project of Flutter is very simple. It is very, very simple. You just simply find here the word new Flutter project. So it is the plugin that you have installed that will be able to that will make this one possible to add this Flutter project. Okay, it's the one that will be able to do this. So you just simply click on a Flutter project like this, then it will be able to do what? To create a Flutter project. So when you say Flutter project, so the next thing they will ask you here is the path where your Flutter is. All right. Let me first open here, and let's see where I'm going to save this. First delete. I want to delete the one that I'm using, so I can create a fresh project. Okay. All right, so for me already, so I was here. So go ahead and say, and let me come again. Just simply say new Flutter project, then click on Flutter. So when you click on Flutter, they're going to ask you to specify where your Flutter SDK is. So you're going to show where the Flutter project, the Flutter SDK is, the Flutter that we downloaded. Okay, so to show where it is, you just simply click here. All right, so when you click here, it will take you step by step to directly where the Flutter is. So you will have to direct here and point to the folder where you unzipped your Flutter. For example, my Flutter for me is under SRC, under Flutter, and then SRC, and then Flutter on my main disk. So also go ahead and tell where your main disk is, and then direct where the Flutter, where you unzipped and put the Flutter folder. Okay, so I'm going ahead and specify like that. So you see, this is where my Flutter folder is. So after completing those two things, the next thing you just simply click on next. So here it is you specifying the Flutter project or something that you're going to do. So for me, I'm going to create a Flutter. I've been a project called what? Learn Flutter. So after doing that, you'll have to specify where you want to save this project. Okay. So for me, I already have the folder here on desktop in my folder of GitHub. I already have a folder called the Learn Flutter. You can see it here. So I'm going to directly tell this project to come and use that folder. So I'll just simply come here, select there, and then come to my GitHub folder, and then come to this folder of Learn Flutter, this one, and then I select that one. In simple terms, here it is where you set where your Flutter, you want your Flutter to be, your Flutter project, okay, where you want it to be saved. So put a space that does not have funny names, that does not have spaces, does not have like the dashes, just something like this, simple, like the way you're seeing this one, a folder like this one. So the next thing, this one, leave it as it is. It's an application. These others, leave them just like the way they are. I hope you members understand what I'm talking about. Just leave these ones. Going to use Kotlin, that's the most recommended. So all these are there. So if you want to generate the iOS folder, you can unselect it. But just leave everything the way it is set, apart from putting there your project of Flutter, the name of your Flutter project, and also being able to do it to add and being able to specify where your Flutter project should be saved. So I'm going to go ahead and say create project, and then they ask me the project file already exists, would you like to overwrite it? I'll just say yes. Okay, they say the module, let me just put here, okay, Learn Flutter like that. All right, so it will process and go ahead and create for me the Flutter project. So I'll have to wait for it to compile. It has completed compiling. So for you, as it may take time, for the first time, it may take time to compile. So there is a new update where they recommend the Android version to be having an API of 33 and above. So you can click on configure and select this 33. So it can take time to configure it, but you can as well, you have to wait for it to do what? To finish that configuration. So I can as well come to what? I can as well come to this folder of Android. So here where there is minimum SDK, put 33 for now. All right, so okay, that may not even show up in your laptop. Okay, so after doing that, then it means that we now have a project of what? Of Flutter. So I'm going to take you through the folders that have been created, and you understand how things are before we get started. So you're going to come here. This is the folder, this is the project. So here you'll find an Android folder. So this Android folder is the folder where the Android code will be saved. Okay, it is where Flutter will be saving the Android code. As we told you, it is Flutter that will do the logic of creating the Android code. So the Android code will be saved here. Then this iOS folder, it will save the code for the iPhones or iOS. Since you know Flutter is a cross-platform, it can work on all departments. I mean, it can work on all what? In all platforms. Then this one is for Mac, and then this one is for web, and then this one is for Windows. So Flutter can be one application and work on all the platforms. That's what makes it also powerful. So after making sure that all those folders are set, so the next thing you're going to do is now start creating your project. So all your project, we are going just to be modifying only two spaces, okay, commonly. We're going to be modifying this pubspec.yaml, this one. This is the place where we'll be putting what? Extensions, or what you call packages. So this is where we'll be adding, let's say that we have something that is not in Flutter and want to add it there. We'll be using this extension to add there, okay? And we'll be using this package, this pubspec.yaml to add there more extensions. Then we'll have pub.lib, sorry, this lib. So this lib folder, it is where our whole code is going to be saved. Everything that we're doing is going to be here in the what? In the publication, or here where there is what? There is lib. Okay, where there is lib, it's all going to put everything almost. Okay, so you now understand. This is where we're going to be putting everything. So this is the Dart code, the Dart programming code. Okay, so that you're going to be modifying, and we're going to understand what is meant by everything here. But the whole point is, this is the folder that we will be working in only. Then these other folders will be fetching data from this one that will be working using that. Or Flutter will be using the folder to use to fetch to update the other folders. So after doing that, the next thing that we will need to do is now to do what? Is now to run your application. So to run your application, there are a few things that you have to do. You can run it either on your computer, or you can run it using your mobile phone. Okay, so if you want to run it on your computer, that is very expensive. It becomes if you don't have a very, very powerful computer like mine, it becomes it becomes hard. Your computer will be very, very, very slow when you're running it from the computer. So it is recommended you use an external phone. You run it on your own phone, or you run it on your mobile phone. So I'm going to share my mobile phone screen, and I show you how you can set your mobile phone so it can be used as an emulator for creating your mobile application. Let me try to share my mobile phone screen. All right, that is my mobile phone. Hope you can see it. So I hope you can see my mobile phone. So once you have your mobile phone, I'm going to show you how you can set your mobile phone to start using it for debugging. So what you're going to do, you're going to come to your mobile phone and then go to settings. So before, if you've never programmed before, your mobile phone will not accept debugging unless you set it. So set it to debug. You just go to your phone and then go to settings. Oh my god. And then go to settings here, and then whatever phone you're using, it may not be like mine. I'm using a Samsung, but yours can be not iPhone, by the way. For now, you're not going to look at iPhone, you look at Android. Yours can be Samsung, it can be Tecno, it can be Motorola, it can be any other kind of Android phone. All right. Okay, so after, you're going to look for where there is settings, where there is about. So whether your about is under whatever, but look for where there is a build number of your project, of your phone. So if you don't have a if you don't do what I'm going to tell you, you will not have this place called developer options. So you have to do that. So whatever it is, just look for where there is what you call build number. Most phones now have they have searches. You can as well search it from here and search for build number. Right? Most phones now have searches. So you can search for build number from there in settings. But for me, I know where mine is. Okay. So let me go straight to build number. So to build number, it is under, for me, it is under about, and under software, I think, and then the build number is here. Okay, so you press on this build number 3 times, 1 2 3, like this. So when you press it like 4 times, or like this, ta 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 ta, like that, you will see something popping up. So they'll tell you that you have enabled your your developer mode. Okay, so you have to press on the build number 3 times. So after enabling your developer mode, okay, developer options, you'll be able to come back to home page here of the settings, and then you'll find developer options in the bottom of your settings. Go ahead and click on that developer options. So you start setting, so make it on. So come here and switch it on. Oh my god, sorry, the technology that I'm using to share screen depends on developer options. So if you switch it on, off, it will disconnect. My god, it has failed now. Okay. All right. So switch on the developer options. Okay, switch on the developer options. Then after, make these settings. You can set it should always be on when you're debugging. Then after, come here to where there is USB debugging, and make sure you switch it on, USB debugging. All right, so make those settings on, and then you should be able to do what? To start developing. So once you make these settings on your phone, connect your phone using the good working USB. Some USBs have problem, but make sure that your USB is in good health and it can transfer data. So use that USB to connect your phone. So if you do that successfully, now if you come to Android Studio, you'll find your phone name listed here on top. For example, mine is Samsung, so I can see SM, A10, F7F, something like that. So if you're using Tecno, it will tell you. If you're using whatever, it will tell you from here. If you disconnect it, it will still show you that you have disconnected. Okay, so I hope you understand that what I'm talking about. So go ahead and select your phone. That shows that you have successfully set up your environment. So the next thing that you're going to have to do is to run your project. So make sure that your project is running in order to start celebrating. So I'm going to run my project by just simply clicking on this run button. So it will process and then start running my project. So for the first time, it can take really long. It can take long. It doesn't matter what computer you're using, but it takes long to compile the project for the first time. So we are going to wait for it to finish compiling so I can proceed. So it has finished compiling. I have a very powerful computer, so it's fast. So it is faster, and then you can see it has finished. But for your computer, it may be a different case. What are they saying? Insufficient storage. My phone is almost full. Let me delete some things here. Let me delete something here. Okay, I've emptied the recycle bin. I hope I have now like around 2 GB free space. All right. Okay. I'll show you. Come to my inbox. I'll show you the technology I'm using to share my screen on phone. Okay, so now my phone, I've deleted some few things. Now I can go ahead and run the project. So let me put my phone here next to my IDE. What are they saying again? Failed to install, failed at binary, current version, and the application launching error. Let us install it again for the last time. Okay. Let's see what could be the problem. Come here and say Flutter let's try to run it again, get dependencies, and then let's try to run it again. More than 10 GB. Yeah, I have a very powerful machine. Someone is asking. All right, I think let me use the ID and you see the emulator. Let me first remove the phone and we use emulator. Of course, this challenge will always be there. So let me go ahead and use the emulator here. But don't try this on your laptop if it's not having too much RAM. Okay, so I'll make sure that I select here the emulator. Let's run it again. Okay, let's see what could be the problem, and we face it now because it's going to waste my time. It's wasting our time. Installing. Yeah, it has run. So let me do like this. Let me do like this. View mode window. So let me make this on full screen. Put it next to this one. Okay, that's our phone there. All right, so you should have something like this at least. Okay, you should have something like that, either working on your phone or what. So now if this is a first application of Flutter. So that's it. That's a very good progress so far. That's our first application of Flutter. Yeah. So you can be able even to click here and then it increases. You see? It increases. So yeah. So that shows that we have made progress. That shows that we made progress, and that is very good news that you can now create at least an application of Flutter. Okay, so members, make sure by the time you finish these videos, you can have something like this. Okay, so that is step number 1. So now, how many minutes remaining? With the remaining 3 minutes. Let us use these 3 minutes just to explain the structure of our project, and then when we come back, we now do the coding of that project. So the project will always begin from here where there is main.dat. So that's the class, I mean the function that, I mean the file that will be called when the project is beginning. All right, so in this dat, there are some codes that look to be like kind of confusing, but don't worry, we're going to explain them and along the way. So if you did what he told you, if you watch the previous lectures of, the lectures of that programming, you're not going to be confused unless you did not watch them and I told you to do so. So our application starts here where there is material application, material app, and then it comes here and collect the theme. So some things are optional, some you can remove them. And then here you have the main page, or what you can call my page or my home page. So this home is where the first screen will be used. Okay, where the first screen will be. All right. So you can create a first screen separately in a different file here, and then you can see this first screen is it's just a class called my home page, and it's extending the stateful widget. So when you proceed right now, it may be confusing you. When you proceed, you look at different widgets. We have stateful widget and stateless widgets. You are going to explain all those ones and you understand what they meant. So this is where our home page is, and then you can see here we have our title, and then this is the state of that home page, this one here, and you will explain what is meant by by class, and then also state of the class. Okay, so the state of the of this stateful widget of this home page. Then inside here, it's where now we have the information that you're seeing here on screen. For example, you're seeing this word, you have pushed the button these times. Okay, so I can change this word to say I. So when I say I and I save, straight away it will update the screen, and you see the screen has changed what I have pushed instead of you have pushed. Okay, so maybe I say they have put this button this many times, so I can change this one to say this number of times. So when I save, Flutter has that powerful feature called hot reloading. It will reload automatically and then update your screen. So that is how we are creating the application. So here we have other features, other things that are there. So in the next session, now we are going to see now how can you create now 2 screens. How can you switch from one screen to another screen? How can you style your text? How can you style the container? Which type of layouts do we have? The row, the column. We are going to look those ones. We're going to start looking at those ones in the next session. This one was just to configure, to set up our environment and make sure I understand it and creating our first Flutter application and being able to run it. So we have already finished that and our time is up. So we're going to go in break of 5 minutes. Then after 5 minutes, we come back and do the remaining task of now doing the real programming of Flutter. So let's go and chill for just only 5 minutes. Then at 3:05, we should all be back, and then we look at now the real practicals of how to make mobile application using Flutter. But you can see things are not very hard. Things are not really hard. So let's go ahead and let's go for a break of only 5 minutes. You can remain here or you can switch off and go and chill. and then after 5 minutes we should all be back, and then resume with for the next 40 minutes, and we call it a day. All right, guys, let's go and chill. Those who want to listen music can stay around. You're going to go for the last session of 40 minutes, and then you ask your questions, and then you call it a day. Okay. Guys, are you ready? Ready for the next session? Douglas, are you there? Douglas, are you there? You guys, are you there? Don't teach myself here. Douglas, are you there? Put your message in the chat if you can't respond. All right, Ambrose, are you there? I want to make sure that you guys are there. Joseph, are you there? Huh?
Yeah.
Are you ready for the next session?
Yes, I'm ready.
Good. Let's go for just 40 minutes, and then you call it a day. So let's all be attentive. I will welcome your questions at after 40 minutes, and then we go. All right, I see Ambrose is there. I hope you're ready for the lecture, Mr. Ambrose. Someone asked me a question in the chat. Let's see. Sir, do you have more than 10 GB available storage? Yes, I have more than that. I have 2 terabytes. I have 2 terabytes and 64 GB RAM. I have a very powerful machine. Okay, so let's go straight to our today's business. All right. Okay, so I'll go ahead and do it and share my screen. I hope my screen is already shared, and I hope you're seeing it. So I'm going to go ahead and do what, and start recording and start our counter of what? Of 40 minutes, right? Yes. Count of 40 minutes. Where is it? Okay, change it from here. Okay, it is there. 40 minutes. Good. Let me start recording the second session. Hello members, welcome to our last session. We're going to proceed from how we stopped in the previous session, and in the previous session we were able to set up our Flutter environment, and we were able to run our application. Okay, Ambrose says there. Okay, all right, so we're able to run our first application of Flutter in our IDE. So in this section we're going to take it from there and see how we can do more things with Flutter. So without wasting much time, let's go straight into business and we get started. All right, so you know how this thing was generated by Flutter, you saw. So the next that we're going to do, we're going to see how we can create multiple screens. Okay, so you can be able to move from one screen to another screen. Okay, so to do that, I'm going to come here to where there is a lib here. I'm going to put a special folder where I'll be having different screens, just like the way you see this application. An application, they say that when you go to Gmail, you can move from one screen to another. Okay, so I'm going to do the same. I'm going to put a section where we're going to have the main screen or the home page, and then we should be able to navigate from home page to another screen. Okay, so these screens, it is better you organize your data in a better way. So all the screens, it is better they be in the same place. And if you want a screen, you know where to find it. The widgets, they will be in a different place, and also the models in a different place. So your project should be organized. When you want something, you don't fidget. You just know exactly where to find it. All right. So let's go ahead and do that. So I'm going to come here to our lib folder and then right click and say new directory. This directory, it is where we're going to, this is just a folder, like directory means folder, you all know that. So I'm going to create a folder called screens. So this screens directory, it is where we are going to put our what? Our screens, our different screen, homepage screen, etc. All right. So let me go ahead and put there our first screen that we're going to call the homepage or home screen. Okay. So I'll come here to home to these screens and then right click and then say new and then come and say new file. So it should be a .dat file and I'm going to call it home underscore screen like this .dat. So you should always remember to put the extension of .dat. So like this. So let me add it to GitHub like that. So that is going to be our home screen and it is inside the folder of what? Of screens. So now what we're going to do, we are going to put there the stateful widget. All right. We're going to put there the stateful widget. I'll explain what is meant by stateless widget. I'll explain what is meant by stateless widget. So to create stateless widget, just write STL. They'll suggest for you stateless. So just press enter and they'll create for you what? A stateless widget. Okay. So go ahead and type in home screen. All right. So this is going to be a home screen. So press here Alt and enter. Move your mouse here. If it is showing an error, move your mouse here where the error is and then click on this red icon and then say import. Okay. So when you say import, they'll import the right things that are going to remove all these things. Okay. So that is a home screen. So I want you to look at this code very clearly. It's just a class that extends a stateless widget, and then it is having this is optional, by the way. You can even remove it. It's a constructor. Let me remove it. You can remove it. It is just having a constructor called home and it's taking the key. All right, but you can remove it. It's optional. Then it overrides the build. Okay, at override widget build. So this one is the one that is where the whole project will begin from, or where the whole Flutter will begin from. And here we are returning a placeholder. You see, placeholder is a default widget in Flutter that we use to do it just to display something that does not have any content. So by doing like this, we'll have created your one screen. All right. So what we're going to do, we are going now to implement this home screen. We are going to put it in the main file. As I told you, the main file is it's where the project begins from. We are going to put it in the main file so that it should be taken as a main as the main folder. I mean as the main screen or the home screen where the application should always start from. So I can go ahead and copy that home screen and then come here to where there is a main folder. Here, the main folder. I'm going to steal this Flutter project that my main screen is this one. Okay, so let's come to our main folder, to our main file, and go ahead and remove this unnecessary thing. For example, this is my home page. We don't need it. You can remove it. So you can collapse it from here. Okay, I can collapse it and I remove it like this. I don't need this one also. I can collapse it and I remove it like this. All right, so you'll have a simple main file like this one. You see, it is just that simple. So I can even remove this comment. Can you see? It's just material app and it's having Flutter demo, and then inside it there is a theme. This theme is just the configuration of your project in case you want to configure what the color of the app bar, what is the default color. You can configure these things from here, but it's also optional. You can as well remove it from here. You see, I can remove that one. So the main thing that is remaining here is the title. Even this one is optional, you can remove it, but the main thing that's remaining there is the what? The home. So this home is a place where you tell Flutter to should begin executing your project from. So I'm going to remove this thing that was there, so you can have such a simple thing. Can you see that? Look at that. Very, very simple thing. Okay, so here it is where we're going to put our what? Our home screen. This screen that we have just created here. That is simple, right? So you can see how things are just simple, though it begins with some complicated code. You can even pause the video and delete everything and rewrite these things. So I'm going to put here my home screen. So I'll come and copy this home screen class name and come and paste it here as it is, and then I open like this. So if it brings warning, just press Alt and enter, then it will show these options of how you can fix it. Or you move your mouse, you click in that error, and then you move your mouse there, it will give you options. So you go ahead and import it. Click on that first option. So like this, you can add your constant so it can be constant. So like this, you can even remove this title if you don't need it, right? So you'll have a simple application like that. So if I save, it will update the screen. So you see, when I save, it comes here and shows me the placeholder. So it means that I've successfully implemented this as my home screen. So if I stop my application and I run it again, it should be able to show me, it should be able to execute this one as my home page or as my main page. Okay, so it is loading, boom. So you can see that's our main page. So we have successfully implemented that. So I'm going to press Ctrl and come to this main page. Just you press Ctrl and click on it to go there. So we now have our application in control. We know where everything it is and we know the meaning of everything. This is the main application. It runs this app and this app, which is having the material app, and then this material app, it is returning this home screen as its main home. And then inside this home screen, it has a build. This build is where the application starts from, or where the screen starts from. And in this build, we're returning a simple placeholder widget. So a widget is a user interface. We're returning just a placeholder widget, this black screen. So at this moment, we should be knowing what is meant by everything. So I'm going to remove this black screen, and then I put the design of something that we want. For example, there is something called text. Text is a widget. A widget means a user interface, okay? So text is a user interface provided by Flutter that we use to display data on the screen, okay? So I'm going to put here the text and display maybe my name there on the screen. So to do that, I just simply write text and then I open like this, and then I display there my name there, Muhindo Mbarak app, like this, okay? So I save. So when I save, you see my name is there, but things look really, 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 really funny. Yes, it is working, our name is being displayed, but you being able to design that, okay, this should be the app bar, the words should not cross in the status bar, like to have something that looks like a real application, something that looks like this Google Chrome. You see, when I open Google Chrome, I have things of this light, like everything is well organized, okay? When I scroll, the words, the colors, the arrangement, okay? So you can see if we begin from here, we have a very long journey to make something look like a real application. So because of that, Flutter provided to us a widget, an interface or a class that we can use to design our application so it can look like a real application without too much pain. So you start from there, okay? So that class or that widget is called Scaffold. So Scaffold is a structure of your mobile application, okay? So we're going to put this text in the scaffold. So Scaffold will give our application a shape of a real application, right? So I can remove everything that I was having here, and then I return here what you call scaffold like this. So this scaffold, just write scaffold like this. Okay, just write that scaffold. I have something that is suggesting me for me things. So this scaffold, just return it like that one. So scaffold, it will take two main things. The first thing that it will take the up bar. So the up bar is this thing that you're seeing on top of most mobile applications, just like the way you're seeing this one. This thing that is on top here is what you call the up bar. This one that you see where there is my classes is what you call what? The up bar. Alright? So scaffold, it will take the up bar, and then here where you're seeing the students list here, it is the body now. Okay, it will take also the body content. All right, so we are going to go to application and then return the up bar and then the content. So that's what the scaffold takes. So it will help us not to hassle with the dimension, not to hassle with the arrangement, not to hassle. It will do all that for us. So let's go ahead, let's go back to our mobile application. So here we return scaffold. So as I say, it will take the up bar like this, up bar. Let me first disable Copilot, because it is telling things before I do them. Okay, so this scaffold is going to take up bar like this. So up bar, it takes something called up bar, a class called up bar, right? Open like this, and then here this up bar, it has what we call title. So this title, it takes a widget. So I can write here text, and I say my Flutter application. I can say my Flutter mobile app, okay, or I can say learning Flutter like this. All right, so that is it. So the next thing that we say that this will take, it will take what we called it will take what we call the body. Okay, so you just go ahead and put there the body. So in the body there, you can return for example, another text. This is my body, like this. Then go ahead and save. Boom, you have something beautiful like that. Can you see that? It is so beautiful. Like by just a few pieces of line, you're able to achieve a mobile application that looks amazing like that without too much hassle. Even though it can be too much hassle for you for the beginning, but once you master, once you set up, this cannot be painful. All right, so and I hope right now everyone understands the purpose of everything that we have in this application. Okay, so that is so beautiful, isn't it? It is beautiful. All right, so now getting started. Here I want us to have a list of different things. Okay, I want us to have a list of things that we are going to do. All right, so thing that we're going to practice. So in Flutter, we have two types of widgets. The first type of widget is called a single child widget. So a single child widget is a widget that will take only one item, or that will take only one child. And then another type of widget is called the multi-child widget, or the one that you can take multiple child or multiple children. Multiple child, okay, so multiple childs, they will form two children. So in simple terms, there we have different widgets. Some widgets, they take multiple child to form multiple children, right? Some widgets take children, and some widgets accept only child. Okay, so we're going to look at those different widgets today. So the widget that I want to put here, I want a widget that can allow me to put more than one item, because I'm going to list the item that we're going to be learning here. So we need a widget that can take children, not a child, okay? That can take more than one thing. So among these examples of widgets, we have something called column, Column can take more than one thing. We have stack can take more than one thing. We have what? We have list view, like that. Then some take single children, such as container. It will take one child, such as center. It will take one child, etc. So here we are going to put a what? I'm going to remove this here, and then I put what we call a list view. List view, it is a widget that will allow us to take things that can be scrollable in form of a list. So I'll open here, bracket, and then pass what we call children. So inside children here, you see, children is where we're going to put multiple children or multiple child, right? So I can go ahead and put there the first child. You see, it is accepting, it's an array, it's accepting multiple things. I can go ahead and put a first child, and I call this one, for example, I can call this one text, and then I say child 1, and then I duplicate this one, child 2, and then child 3 and child 4. So if I save, can you see I have more than one child? And you see, when I try to pull down, I can be able to do what? To scroll. All right, so it is taking multiple children. That's all what we wanted. That is so beautiful. Okay, so we're going to look at different topics, and we need to have our things well organized. So the first topic that we're going to look at is the topic of styling the text. How can we style the text? So what we're going to do right now, we are going to put there something that can be much more elaborative, something like being in the form of a list. But you see, this is just a plain text like child 1, child 2, child 3, but it does not give that feeling of a list. It does not space them properly. So you have to work on that for you to space by themselves. But Flutter gives us also ability to, gives us an access to a widget or to a design that can do what? That can it gives us ability to a design that can allow us to write a single widget, and gives us the whole structure of having a single list item that is well spaced, well organized, and we can attach there different things. Those things, we'll look at them in future as we proceed. But right now, I have no other way I can elaborate other than just giving them to you so you can start knowing. But when you proceed, we'll have to look at all of them. So, and that is list style. So list style will give you ability to organize your data in a very nice way. So go ahead and write list style like this, all right? So list style, it will give you a structure that can organize your data in what? In a list item. So list style has different parameters that it takes. For example, it has a parameter called title, okay? So I can just simply pass here my text and say this is title. Okay, so if I save, can you see? At least this, you can see it's not on the border, what and what. At least it's kind of spaced properly. It is not stuck on the border. Like, it is understanding now that, okay, this person needs to put his item in the list, and this list need have to be spaced properly. Can you see? This is my title 1. Okay, so it means that if I duplicate, I put here comma and I duplicate it, I can have here something like, this is my title 2. That is beautiful. You see, things are now spaced. All right, so let us look at more things that a list style can give us. We have a subtitle. Okay, so this one also takes a widget, and we can say this is my title explanation, like this. So you see, that is so beautiful. So you see the kind of description of whatever you've written on top here, it is here. You see, that is so nice. Okay, so this list style has something called leading. Okay, leading. So leading is something that will be in front of everything here. So let's say maybe you want to display a picture of this item or whatever, so you can put there leading. So here in leading, we have Flutter have things called icons. So these icons, you can use them to demonstrate something by use of symbols. So I'm going to pass here what we call an icon. All right, in this icon, I'm going to put here what we call icons dot. So these icons, when you say icons dot, you'll have a lot of designs that you'll find here. All right. So for example, I'm going to look at text styling. So I can put here text. So you'll see examples of text icons like this. So when I save, you see it has come here in front. Okay, in front as leading. Okay, so our list is now making sense. We have another thing called trailing. Trailing, it is also like the leading, but for which is at last. Okay, at last. So I can go ahead here and say icon and then pass icons dot what dot chevron right. This chevron right is the one that just like right angled, you see. So I can say chevron left, right, left, this one. So I save, you see. So this can communicate to the mind of the user that this is a title, this is a description, this is the icon of what's representing this, and then this is kind of communicating in the mind of user. Click on this to go next, you see. Click on this one to go next. It kind of explains to the user's mind. All right. So this list, it has one more thing that is very important. It has a listener or a click listener. So you can attach the listener in a way that if someone click on that, you're able to notice that someone has pressed on this list. So to attach the listener, you just simply say on tap. So on tap, it takes this open bracket and then like this, curly bracket and open like this. So if you want to put something in your console, let's say that you want to test and see if something is being done, we have what we call console. So console, it will do what? It will be able to display something in your IDE. So if you want to display something in your console, you can just simply write print. Okay, clicked. So this print will display something in the console, right? You know what's meant by console. So let me go ahead and open my console. So your console, you'll find it here on run, where there is run. So I can click here. So you see when I click, you see, I have this clicked. You see, that's beautiful, right? You see, clicked. So, and you see it gives that kind of feedback on the list itself, that kind of repo that you see when I'm pressing, it gives you that kind of a touch telling the user that, hey, this thing you can be able to click it. It's not like here where I cannot click, but when I click on something that has a click listener, it gives that kind of feedback. All right, now here is now where the action begins. We want that when someone clicks there, we should take them to the next page where we can now demonstrate the styling of what? Of text. So we are going now to create the second screen, and we want when someone clicks here, you should go to the next screen, right? Yes. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to come here to the folder of screen and then come here and say new. I forgot here to be naming files. Let me rename this one and just put here one underscore homepage, home screen, so you can be able to trace them. Okay, so in case you share the code with someone should be able to understand where you started from and where you are. So I'm going to put here number 2, new file under screens, number 2. I'm going to call it text styling dot. All right. So instead of us doing what? Instead of us going ahead and repeat and do the same things, I'm just going to copy this and then paste it here. So I can just simply come here, copy this home page because it's almost the same structure, and then come and paste it here. So maybe you can remove a few things. I can just simply come and change this name, press Ctrl F and press Alt and Enter. just change this name to what? To, can't even remove this guy. And then change this name to, okay, I'll change this name to what? To text styling screen. You see how I'm renaming my things? Text styling screen, like this. Okay, so come and change this title to text styling. Okay, I can come and remove this list because I don't need many lists here. I can just simply return text and say time to style texts. Good. So like this. Now the next thing that we're going to do is now to making it able for us to click here and come to this page. Remember, we're on this home page. We are here right now. We are stuck from here. I want us, when someone clicks on this list, when this listener triggers, we should navigate them to this list styling screen. So to do that in Flutter, we have a class called navigator. Navigator. So go ahead and say navigator like this, write it like that, and then say push, like this, and then it takes the first one called context. So this navigator push, it will take the first thing called context, and then after taking the first context, and then you open what you call material page route like this. It has a builder, right? Builder, then right column, and then put their context in bracket, and then point at constant. You can even remove constant, and then put the screen that you want to navigate to. Okay, so then the screen that you want to navigate to is this second screen, this one here. So go ahead and copy that name properly and then put it here. Press Alt and Enter for let me disable Copilot. Press Alt and Enter. It will go ahead and do what? It will go ahead and import this styling. So this is the logic. This one here is the logic that we use to navigate from one screen to another. Okay, so if I click here, I should be able to navigate to the other screen. So okay, let's click, tap, boom, you're able to go to another screen. Can you see? That is beautiful. That is so beautiful. Like we can go from one screen to another, from one screen to another, from one screen to another. That is so nice. So make sure that you're able to achieve that as well, okay? Because it's not magic. You can also what? You can also do it. All right, so we can be able to come now to this second screen by just simply clicking here. So in this second screen, we are going to look at how we can style our text. Okay, how can we style the text? So to style the text, Flutter gives you parameters that you can add. So after putting here the main text that you want, so Flutter gives you more things that you can add. So if you put here comma, you'll be able to get more parameters. So if you want to know these parameters, just press Ctrl and click on that widget. It will give you different parameters that you'll accept. All right. So press we can switch back, okay, to where you want. Me, I'm using Alt and Tab key to switch back and forth from different file to different file. So it accepts text aligning, okay. It accepts text decoration, it accepts maximum text, okay. But the main part here is the what? The text styling, okay. So let's go ahead and look at the text styling. So if you want to style the text, you pass style. So if you don't know what this style will take, just press Ctrl and click on it. It will give you what it will take. It is text style. So I can press Alt and Enter. I mean the Alt and the Tab key to navigate back. So here I am going to pass here style here next to this text one. So here it will take what we call text style, and then so this is text structure. So style, This one to take text style like this. So open bracket, and then it will be able to take it different parameters. Let me put here constant. You see, text style will also be able to take different parameters. So you see, remember we are passing all these one under the text widget. All right, so let's go ahead and do what, and give it different parameters. So text style has also different parameters. So if I press Ctrl and click on it, you'll see the different parameters that it accepts. It accepts color, so I can go ahead and give it color. So I can say color just right here under text style, write color, and then you can give colors. So colors, you'll always find them in this class called colors dot. So when you put dot, you'll be able to see different colors that you want. Okay, so I can put dot red. All right, then you'll have this text in form of red. Okay, so every color have different shades. You can shade it to 90, to 800, 600, up to 900. So if I shade it maybe to, the higher the shade, the darker the color. So if I save, you'll see it will be there to 500. So if I put 900, it will be there. So let me first increase the size. So if I want to increase the size, just simply pass here font size. You can pass, for example, let me make it 55. If I save, you see that is the font size. You get it, right? Okay. If I make it maybe 35, it will be like that. Let me make this list much more, the text much more bigger, like this. Okay, there we go. Right, we are good. So I can change this one even to blue, like this, to purple, so like that, to yellow, to green, to, okay, let me make it green. So you can do that the whole day if you want. So after doing that, so let us look at more parameters. Just press Ctrl and click on it. So I've looked at color. We can change even the background color. I didn't know that. We can even change the background color by just simply say background color, and then you can put maybe black. So you see, that is the black background color. Okay, so you can make this one, for example, white. White does not take shades. Then you see, you can achieve something beautiful like that within just a few write-ups, or within just a few coding. Okay, so you can change the background color as I've shown you. Okay, so I can say maybe the color should be white and the background should be red or green, like this. I can even change the shade of the color and make it maybe 100. So like this. So it can do that. So let's look at more parameters. Faster. So more parameters, we can look at the font size. We already looked at it. Letter spacing. You can do the letter spacing by just say letter spacing, and then you specify by saying 2, so it will increase by 2. Say 1, it will increase by 1. Say 0.1, it will make it like very tight to each other. 0.01, so you can space the letters using that parameter. We have word spacing. You can space the words by just simply coming here, say word spacing, and say maybe 5. So the space between words is going to be increased by 1. If you want the words to touch each other, just put 0.1, and then you see the words are almost together as much as possible. All right, so the next thing, you can change the height of the letters of the lines. So you can say height equals to 1.1, so it will multiply by 1.1. If I say 0.9, it will reduce. Okay, so if I say 0.5, you'll see that the words are mixing up with each other because I've given them very limited height. So you can say 1.2, so you can space them better way. So you can do that as well. We have foreground. We have so many things that you can come and try out by yourself. but literally that is how you style the text. So make sure that you practice it so you can understand how to style the text. So lastly, let's see how you can style the container, but I don't think our time will be enough. Okay, let's first change the title here and change this one to text styling. Text styling. And then the explanation, how to design text in Flutter. Something like that. You see? So you see now it can make sense. So if you click there, it takes you to the text styling, right? Good. So I can say maybe this is topic number 1, like this. All right, so topic number 2. So I'm going to put there the container styling, okay? So a container is the one that we use like the way you see, if you have ever coded HTML, there is something called div, okay? That div is a common structure that you use to put content inside it, and then you put conditions, or you put the designs inside that content, inside that particular content, that those conditions or those designs should not go outside that content. Okay, so it helps us to design. So in Flutter we have something called container. The container helps us to put all the things in a specific place, and then we design them from there. Okay, just like the way you see div. So it's just like the way you can have your house, and then you have there a jerry can to keep water. You have maybe a basket for keeping plates. You have maybe a case for keeping clothes. You have saucepans for keeping food. So everything is in its right container. But imagine if we did not have these containers, like everything was in one place, things could become so messy. So in Flutter we have a container, something called container. We use it to organize. It does not add any content in your project, but you use to organize. It is very common. So we're going to see how we can style a container. So what we're going to do, I'm going to copy this guy, this list style, and then come here on top and paste it here on top. So I'm going just to change a few things. So this is going to be number 2, and then I can say container styling. Okay, so I can change this one to how to design, or I can say decorate container. How to decorate containers, or container. So the icon, you can put a relevant icon. So I can say maybe icons dot like that. All right, yeah, then this icon can remain. So you see how things are making sense. So here we're going to put the topic of what? Of container. This one is topic of list. So here I'm going to put the topic of designing container. So all right, let's go ahead and do that screen. Our time is up, but let's just finish by just creating the screen. So the next class we just go straight and design. So I'll come here to number 2. I'll copy this file, Ctrl C, Ctrl V. I'm going to call it number 3 and call it container styling. Like this. All right, so after doing that, what am I going to do? I'm going to do what? So I save. I'm going to rename this. So instead of saying text styling, I'm going to call this one container styling, and then come and change also this one, container styling, and then come and change this guy to container styling, and then I can remove all this rubbish, and put here just, okay, let me remove everything here in the text and just return a simple text and say time to style containers. Boom. All right. So lastly, let's go ahead and put the link that is going to be able to switch to this container screen. So I'll go ahead and copy that, then come to our home page, which is always on top, and then come here to where this listener is of container and change that one to container styling. Boom. Save. So when I click there, container styling, time to style container. When I click there, list text styling. When I click there, yes, that makes the end of our today's lecture. We are going to post these videos on YouTube. Make sure that you practice and try to venture the mobile application development world. So we will meet in the next video. Let me stop recording from now. Okay, unless there is questions. All right, guys.
Excuse me.
Yes, now it's time for questions if you have some. Yes, please.
Basically, what I wanted to ask, like developing, let's say, an application or using Android Studio and VS Code of data which had ships with someone using VS Code 5, and because some of us like computer might find hardship using this Android Studio, you would like to use VS Code because it is more compatible.
That's a good question. First of all, to use Flutter, you must have Android Studio. There's no way you can escape Android Studio because Flutter will compile using the IDE of Android Studio. I mean, sorry. To use Visual Studio Code, you must have Android Studio in your computer because Visual Studio Code is based on the Gradle of Android Studio to compile. So you need Android Studio. So secondly, some people use Visual Studio Code when you're creating Flutter, and they don't have any challenge because it is slightly lighter. But for me, I use Android Studio. It's the same results, everything the same, but I find Android Studio much more stable in way how it presents code of Flutter. Can you see? Let me open the same project in Visual Studio Code and see. You see, it opens for me things very clearly. Its font, its organization of code, telling you where the error is. But Visual Studio Code, I use it for other things. But when it comes to mobile application development, I use Android Studio. I don't know, but some people use Visual Studio Code. Let me open Visual Studio Code and we compare. Some people use...
Maybe the other thing I would ask is, because I was told you can emulate on let's say, like a website or your Visco using VS Code.
That you can, but to compile an application, you need Android Studio. There's no way you can go around it. To compile an application, you'll need an Android Studio, whether to use it or not. But Flutter, I mean Visual Studio Code, it will also based on Android Studio. However, I can compile without it. So can you see, this is my code in Android Studio, this is my code in Flutter. I mean in Visual Studio Code. Can you see? Now if you come
yes, I can see it.
If you come to, let us open for example one screen here under lib, under screens, under home screen. I find things like here, they are not kind of stable for me as me. But you see here in in Android Studio, I see things are really well organized.
Android Studio organizes it well, even it's user friendly for developers.
Yes, you have all your controls over here. Yeah, because these are the creators of Flutter itself. So They are the creators of operating system of Android. They are the creators of Flutter itself. So they know, but this one just need to suggest. People use Visual Studio Code unless maybe have limitation of the computer capabilities. But for me, Android Studio is the best for me.
My main point was because the machine is weak and it might disturb you running on Android Studio.
You can,
So you can VS Code before.
yeah, it can work. But if it is yeah, it can work. But if it is the problem of the machine, still you need to upgrade. Unless it is you go to Android to Visual Studio Code by choice. But if it is the machine, you will be delayed so much. Okay, thank you for the question. Guys, put your tendency in the chat. Just your registration number. Is it registration number and your name? All right, do you have any other one who can ask a question, who can make remarks? Any other person who may need to make some remarks or ask a question? Guys, are you there?
Okay, for me, I have a problem. Hello?
Yes, I'm listening.
When I run my code, I usually just use code, but when I run it on the web browser, it runs. But I want to use the emulator, but it does not like run on the emulator. I don't know why.
It does not run on the emulator. And you want to use you are using Visual Studio Code.
Yeah.
Which error do you get?
That is not that.utl. There's no that.
Let me see. Because me, I don't use Visual Studio Code. Let me show you. Let us see. Let me show my screen. This. I use what? I use Android Studio. Why don't you use Android Studio? You also have storage issues.
When I use Android Studio, my PC becomes slow.
What is your what?
Storage.
No, your CPU. Is it
Okay.
i3, i5 or dual core?
It's i5.
i5. Do you have what is your RAM?
It's 8 GB.
Very good. What are you using as a storage? Are you using SSD or are you using hard disk?
I use HDD.
That is the problem. You're not going to escape the challenge. Just look for like 200K. They'll give you 500 GB of SSD and you'll forget about those problems.
Okay.
Yeah, just 200K. Invest in. Let me try to.
All right.
Yeah. I even don't have the Flutter plugin, I think, in here. Flutter extension. I have to add it. I don't use Visual Studio Code for coding. Mobile apps. Even the plugin, I removed it. Alright, guys. Any more question or remarks? Let's have one person to give some remarks and then we call it a day. Just comment about the lecture, approach, etc. Feedback. Are you there, Jojo?
Yes, please.
Okay, you have feedback?
Thank you for the lecture.
All right. Okay. Goodbye to everyone. Dr. Drake will share with you the video links for these lectures. See you.
All right.
Buzz, and how are you? Welcome to our very first Hello members, and how are you? Welcome to our very first lecture of learning how to make mobile applications using Flutter. So Flutter is a very powerful technology, and it is becoming very popular, as how we looked at in the previous lecture. In today's lecture, we're going to take it from there. We're going to go straight into practicals, how you can set up your Flutter environment. Going to take it from there. We are going to go straight into practicals, how you can set up your Flutter environment and how you can create your first application for Flutter, and then we go deeper and do now real application, learn how to make applications of what? Of Flutter. So without taking much time, let's go straight to our today's business. We're going to do 40 minutes first in this session, and then we'll have a break and then do another 40 minutes. So I hope you're going to be very attentive in this session, because it's not going to take too long. Alright, so let's begin. Setting up the environment. So there are different things that you need when you're setting up your environment of Flutter. The first thing, you need an IDE, or what you call the editor. And what between you and the operating system. So you have to download and install. You have to download Flutter, and then you connect it here. So we will be writing, and Flutter will be helping us to translate our code from that to Java or to Kotlin that can communicate directly to what? To